Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel. I'm in a new setting today. I thought I would do my filming today from my art studio because I've spent most of September, to be honest, in here wearing my painting apron, which you can see I'll just get up now and put it straight on, because September has been a month full of art for me, full of oil painting, taking part in the Strada easel challenge, which you would have seen, the birth of the idea of the toy tarot. So it's been a September full of painting, full of creating, but lots of other things. And I thought today I would film my September happies and share it all with you guys if you are interested. So September, the kids went back to school, a biggie for me because Busby, my youngest, my only boy, he started high school. It was the first time him and his sister had been back to school together, and to see them walking in together was just so wonderful. And how fast they grow up when they hit high school, and you're not walking them into school, you're just dropping them off. So that was huge in September. Also, the fact that my school run, which initially was nearly 5 hours a day, because I had 3 children at 3 different settings, it then came down with a different route for Tilly's special needs taxi. It reduced down to about 2.5 hours a day. And now it's down to about 40 minutes a day, which is unbelievable for me, the amount of time that I feel like I've got back. So that's been nice for me in September. So all the kids started back to school. Tilly started back brilliantly. She's been joining in with PE. She got a sports award. She came home with this after her first week. She's been amazing. Also, what she's been bringing home for me, she's been bringing home amazing artwork, stickers, cutting, drawings, colourings, ready for me to piece together a art journal for me to write in, all based on her artwork. She's been a busy bee. In the forest school, she's been taking pots in to collect pots of stones for me for my altars. And then, this is something I haven't shown you, she brought home some chess pieces that they've been making in school, which now sit on my altar, because if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I've got a link to the white horse and to the maca and the Morrigan with the white horse. So that was these were really precious to me, as well as all of her drawings. So that's been Tilly. She's been a busy bee. Busby's also been busy. If I just stick to the kids at the moment, Busby spent September giving me the treat of reading to me. Instead of me reading to him every night, he decided to read to me, and he read me in September one of his all-time favourite books, Future Rat Boy by Jim Smith. This is the first in the series of 3 of these. We're just about to start book 2 now. He's read them all about 50 times, but I'd never read them, so that was a real delight every day, getting read to by my own boy. It was just lovely. Poppy had a wonderful start back as well. She had a slight upset at the start of the term because she'd swapped subjects to photography, and she'd spent all summer doing her photography, learning how my camera worked, only to be told when she got back into school that they'd made a mistake and she couldn't swap to photography anymore, which was a real blow for her. But she was so stoic about it, and she's made yet another subject change. Hopefully her choices are okay now. But then after 2 weeks back at school, she got COVID, and we went into panic mode because Tilly is in the house as well, and Tilly is super vulnerable. We shielded with Tilly. So to know that there was COVID in the house was scary, not only for Poppy but also for Tilly, because of course Tilly hasn't been old enough yet to get the vaccination here in the UK, so she was still unvaccinated. Not so brilliant for Poppy. She started back at school about 3 days ago. It really knocked the stuffing out of her. She's through it and out the other side. So ups and downs through September with my mummy hat on. So that aside, it's been a month where I got to go back to Wales, back to dotting my caravan in Wales. I started doing loads of work up there right at the start of the month, so that was lovely, walking the beaches with the dogs, just fantastic. While I was up there, when I first arrived at the start of September, I got out the car, and right on the doorstep of the caravan was this amazing feather. I absolutely love it. I got to the van and got out the car and just squealed with joy. The next morning there was another one sitting there, so that just felt really special. Back here in the woods as well, it's also been a month of feathers being gifted, just one after the other, just beautiful. At the fallen tree in the woods where I collect soil, I've been using that as a little altar to take gifts to the tree spirit, because the earth and that tree that fell just feels really special to me. So I've been walking in the woods and leaving little offerings in that little bowl, like a little natural cauldron. So I've been loving that in the woods as well. But then a fuel crisis hit the UK, so all travels to the caravan stopped, all travels to and from the woods stopped, all travel altogether stopped. So we went straight from a COVID outbreak in the family to a fuel crisis. So I had a limited amount of fuel in my car, which I was trying to eke out for school runs, and it literally felt like the end of the world. I think it feels like we are hauling ourselves from one crisis to the next. Then there was the shooting of the stag as well in Britain. It just felt like end times, to be honest, and that feeling hasn't gone. So it has been really nice to be able to bury myself in artwork in my studio, and that's where I want to talk about the Strada easel challenge. New to me, I just heard about it by chance on Instagram, literally a couple of days before it started. So I looked into it, and it was drawing or painting from life every day for the 30 days of September. And I decided to join in. One of my goals for September was to continue to practice oil painting, which I've only just started. And I thought, what a fantastic opportunity to give myself a reason to really push with my oil paints. So I started oil painting and sharing them with you weekly, and you brilliant lot came up with the idea of the toy tarot. It had flipped into my mind a little bit before that, but you guys saying it as well, I thought, yeah, there is something here. So I started creating paintings like this. This one was done up at the caravan while I was up there doing decking works. This one was also done at the caravan. So these were at the start of September, in between jet washing and painting iron railings. These two were done. If you want to know what these two are, this one is the Fool and this one is the Empress. So there were just loads and loads of paintings done. I can't believe how many I got through, and I can't believe how much I love oil painting. I'll put a little clip of the video of all the paintings that I've done in here now so that you can see. So to get through that amount of painting in a month just blew my socks off. I blew my own socks off, but the word demons that were brought about, I did talk about those in some of the painting videos I shared. So like inner critic got really loud, comparison with other people got really loud, fear of failing and of being judged got really loud. Also fear of my YouTube channel, you know, do you guys even want to see art on here? That got really loud, and I decided the only way through was to be totally authentic and just to share what I love, what I want to share, and then you guys decide whether you want to watch it or not. So that was a massive part of September for me. which has led to me rejigging the whole studio, making it more set up for oil painting. I realised very quickly the studio wasn't set up properly for an oil painting or painting station. So the first part this month has been so busy doing that, but was talking about September, don't get squirrel brained. But that was September. It was just brilliant. And of course it was an excuse to get toys out, to go scouring the loft as well. I got David out, which is my favourite troll, dressed like Starman, David Bowie. He turned into the magician because there was nobody more magical and fantastic, and realising they've got all the power to create in their own hands than David Bowie. So he was this brilliant toy to paint for the magician. Wind up robots, which I love. A lot of these toys, and mine I don't mind admitting. He's one that lives in my bedroom. I love toys. He became the emperor and I just had so much fun. Another goal that I'd set myself for September was to reconnect with my journal practice. I hadn't been journaling, and I realised that if I don't journal, it kind of makes me feel a bit disconnected and ungrounded. It gives me a like I'm floating feeling. I always need something to ground. I think it's to do with non-existent lower chakras at the minute, but that's a completely different story. So I got my tarot journal back out, which had been abandoned, to be honest, for a few months. And I started working on this in September. And apart from my printer cartridges running out and me being completely floored by the cost of printer cartridges and refusing through September to reorder any, apart from that, it was really good. You can see that my printer ink ran out pretty darn quick. And you can see that I had been doing a deep dive on the Tarot of Transformation, which I'll show you when I get to my decks. But working with the Tarot of Transformation, I realised it probably differs from my, more than any of my decks I own, from the Rider-Waite. You think it's Rider-Waite based, but it really isn't. So I got an unused journal. This is your year 2020. Oh, the irony. I wonder why this was unused. But I suddenly thought, all these unused diaries and journals, I could just journal over the top of them. So that's what I started doing. This is my deep dive with the Tarot of Transformation. I think I got this idea from the brilliant Dawn Michelle. She's just a source and a font of inspiration. But she was saying, I think it was Dawn Michelle, that you can study cards by comparing them next to the Rider-Waite version. I had never thought of that. Why had I never thought of that before? So what I did, I got out my Rider-Waite, and I also got out another deck that I keep in my head like Rider-Waite, the Lightseer's Tarot. For every card from the Tarot Transformation, I pulled out the matching Rider-Waite and the Lightseer's card, and then did a study on them. So I've got a few pages done, a lot with loads of notes on, to be honest. And I've literally just gone through and written on each double page spread the next card, so I know that when I pull it, where to pull it out. So you can see the Strength card has already been pulled, but the Hanged Man is yet to come out in using it, and the Death card is yet to come out in using it. And I've done that all the way through the book, and you can see the pages where I've got a card there. So if you've got any diaries lying around that from previous years that you haven't used, or you even did use them but they're null and void now, and you don't need them for reminiscing and they're just sitting there, you could do that, because all you need to do is then I just put really quick little collage bits to cover up the fact that it was a diary, and then started journaling on top. So that's been fun to do in September. For me on YouTube, it was exciting. I started a new tag. I started for the very first time sharing my deck collection, and I started the tag You're It, which is going through different categories of my decks and sharing them. I also did VRs to other people. I did Simon over at the Hermit's Cave, his bedside table tag, which I loved. I did the Home and Hearth decks by the lovely Dawn Michelle. I love doing that. What else did I do? I did Mistress Ray, Not Your Tarot Aesthetic. So loved connecting with Eris Elizabeth, who's got a channel here on YouTube, but she's also on Instagram. She was also taking part in the Strada easel challenge, so it was lovely to connect with Eris. There was one time she did a live, which I'll link below, of one of her paintings, and Katey Flowers was on the live as well, so there was the three of us chatting. That was really special in September. I love Eris's channel. I also love Katey Flowers, so it was such a nice combination. Katey Flowers' videos linking us to our decks have been hysterically brutal. This month they made me chuckle away. I still say I'm invisible. Dreams of Gaia. Come on, somebody do it. Loved it. Love seeing Katey Flowers back. Nat over at Sanskrit Blue shared the beautiful Home Spirit spread, which I loved, which I also did a VR for. There were just lots going on YouTube, which I really loved taking part in or being part of in some way, so that was fun. Over Instagram, I've connected with this wonderful artist. This is Lucy Tipper from Tangled Muses on Instagram. This card I bought as a welcome home when Poppy came home, because Poppy has a real connection with fox energy, and there is a story with Poppy with a fox, but it's Poppy's story, so I won't share it. But needless to say, when I saw this on Lucy's Instagram, I went to a shop and I got this. It's called Fox Spirit, and I bought this as a greeting card for Poppy. And Lucy popped in a couple of bookmarks. Poppy's got one with foxes on. I've got one with goddesses on. This links very much to a meditation I did with my Weaver's Oracle in September as well. So that was real synchronicity there. Let's quickly go through the books, because it's 25 minutes already and I haven't even got to books and decks yet. This is one that I started reading. I've read this throughout September. I started reading this just before I started the Strada easel challenge. This is a book by the artist Audrey Flack, and in it she has she just shares sort of anecdotes and memories, almost like a journal of her time with other artists and in the art world. I picked it up because I googled for art books online, and this one came up, and I thought, well, that sounds nice. Didn't know who Audrey Flack was, and as I was reading this book, I thought, wow, this woman has had such a bohemian, arty, creative, right in the thick of it life. And so I started googling her to find out more about it, and oh my goodness, didn't she paint toys, still life toys? And this was kind of like the universe having a joke with me. I just started the Strada challenge. I just picked toys as my subject matter, brand new to it, feeling really insecure, and got to see all of her amazing work. And it set me off on comparison and overwhelmed by comparison and feeling really insecure. So it was a real battle. It was another synchronicity, and I think it was a lesson in be uniquely you, don't compare yourself. But she's amazing. If you've never heard of her artwork before, then go check her out. I'll also put some links to some other artists that I found down the Pinterest rabbit hole with her that you might like to check out as well. Awesome artwork. Another book that I read was this book by Don Miguel Ruiz, The Four Agreements. It is a book about 4 things to do in life to transform your life. I am a sucker for a spiritual self-help book. I have seen this actually as a deck. I think it's with Hay House. So the 4 agreements are: be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, and always do your best. It was a very quick read. It had some interesting points. It didn't rock my world as much as the Ryan Holloway books on Stoicism did, but it was an interesting read all the same. Inspired by my Literary Witches deck, which has a card for Octavia E. Butler, I picked up her novel Wild Seed because I realised the previous month that I needed to put some more fiction reading in because I hadn't read fiction for a while, and I really felt a desire for fiction. Oh boy, was this really good. It's a love story of love and hate, and it's 2 immortals in there chasing each other across continents and centuries, binding their fates together and changing the destiny of a human race. This is a fantastic, imaginative roller coaster of a ride in a world where people are captured by an immortal called Doro, but he meets his match in Enyanru, who is also another immortal. It's a book about shape-shifting. It's a book about human connection and relationships. It's a book about magic. It's brilliant. I finished the book just wanting more, and then realised it was part of a series. So I don't care about depth here with this one. I've ordered the 2nd book in the series, which I haven't started yet, but absolutely brilliant. What a fabulous read that was. I read it swinging in exhaustion in my reading chair on the balcony at Dotty after busy days of working and beach walking, and it was a joy. Another fiction book that I read, which was a joy, which also blew my mind because it wasn't what I was expecting, was this book. Now, I'd picked this up for Poppy. She hasn't read it yet, but it just kept appealing to me. The cover picture appealed. It's the true story of the Wicked Witch of the West from A Wizard of Oz, made into a really famous musical, of course. I didn't really know what the story was going to entail, and I thought it was a kid's book, but you can see it's quite a chunky book. It is nearly 500 pages long, and although it might come into possibly young adult fiction, I'm not really sure. To be honest, this read like an adult book. It was really dark in places, and be warned, if you're a fan of the Wizard of Oz film, which I am, you will never ever watch the Wizard of Oz with the same eyes ever again. So if you don't want that to happen, this isn't a book for you. If you do love the Wizard of Oz, you do like fantasy fiction, this is fantastic. And I finished it I finished it actually in tears, and I wondered why on earth this hasn't been made into a film. And I did wonder, is it because of the rights with the Wizard of Oz? But it is up there with Harry Potter for being able to be visualised in cinematography. And it got left at a point where I thought you could literally write a spin-off of about 8 books from this one book. And then I thought, I wonder. And I googled it, and there's a whole spin-off of books from it. This is the next Harry Potter series begging to be made. It's just glorious. And I have to confess, like with the Octavia Butler book, I have ordered the 2nd book in this series as well. So we've got two new fiction series on the go, which are unpassable. They have to be read. And then another book that I have really loved, but I'm still reading it because I'm making swathes of notes and visual maps on. This is a proper study, was this little second-hand book that I picked up from the Oxfam bookshop in Wales, where my caravan is. And it's the Glastonbury Legends, The Quest for King Arthur and the Holy Grail. My trip to Glastonbury this year really opened up a doorway for me to the myths of Arthur, to the Lady of Avalon, to that whole sort of goddess trail, to Mother Mary. I did speak about that maternal motherly energy in the Chalice Gardens, not knowing a single thing about the Glastonbury Legends or the tale of Glastonbury. I had no idea that Mary was linked to the site at all. So as I started to discover more and realise that it tied in totally to what I'd felt, and the fact that I'd brought the Mother Mary deck, and without realising that this is all part of the legend, it's opened up an absolute well of desire to study and know more. This book, I've got about halfway through it. Sorry guys, don't come for me, I'm a page turner. However, possibly not anymore with nice bookmarks like this. This book has been fascinating. Even the geography of Glastonbury has blown my mind and has made me draw maps. If you do want a series about my studies to do with Glastonbury shared, then just let me know and I'll share it. But it's been just a really, really fascinating study, which is going to carry on this month. I'm reading a fantastic book about the goddess and the Lady of Avalon, the Lady of the Lake. Oh, it's just wonderful, magical history right there for my grabbing, especially living here in England. So that's been fantastic. I think it keys in to my absolute connection with genius, low key as well. It links to landscape, to place. It's just been magical. I mean, this is a really old book. You can see it's really weather beaten. It was this first published in 1967, so a year before I was born. This edition is 1971, so you can see it's a really old book, but oh my goodness, it's just been, I've loved it. So that's been reading for September. Decks. I've been using tarot in different ways. I've been doing deep dives with a certain deck with daily readings, which I'll talk about. But I've also this month been doing story tarot, I've called it. So story tarot is where I've got an altar in the house and I've kind of pulled a card a week or a couple of cards a week. Dogs are coming in. I've left the cards out over, say, a week or sometimes over the whole month to kind of let it tell me a story of the month, and to within that story, that longer story, to kind of glean guidance and understanding for what I'm going through. So upstairs, next to my bed on my bedside cabinet, which I shared in my VR to Simon, I've been using 2 decks up there through September, 2 really healing decks. The Mystical Healing Reading Cards by Ines Segal, which I love, but paired with the Amanda Lovelace Believing Your Own Magic Oracle decks. These 2 decks are so beautiful together, and when left out to show a story over a week, it's just been something really lovely to mull over before bed. It's a comfort, it's a hug. These 2 have been lovely through September. And I've done the same by my front door altar, which is not only is it a dumping ground for kids' school bags, let's just be honest, and posts that I haven't opened yet because I get traumatised by posts, but that's another video entirely. But there's also lots of crystals for protection. There are lots of the spell workings on there for protection. And that's where I let my crystal deck, the stone deck, live. And I've been pulling a card daily from this deck and leaving it out for a week at a time, and putting them along the altar. These cards have got loads of info on the back. They're all colour coded to match the colour of the crystal that you're looking for. I really loved doing that through September, and that's been a nice kind of story to read with as well. So I've had sort of self-healing stories going on upstairs, other stories going on by the door, which has just been nice to ponder over while I've been waiting for Tilly's taxi. In the lounge, we've been doing the same with the kids, because the kids always ask for cards to be drawn in the morning before school. This month we've been using the Garden Dragons deck yet again. This is a goodie. But we've also been using this Divine Dog Wisdom cards. Oh, this deck. Both of these decks are gorgeous. The Divine Dog cards, they are so beautiful. The faces of the dogs are so emotionally evocative. The messages are fantastic. All three of my kids have wanted Divine Dogs left out in a line for their Divine Dog story. Tilly's basically wanted all the cards, but it's just been a really nice thing to do in the lounge at that altar. So there have been tarot stories left out. I also used 2 decks for just a single card pull for the month. Mother Mary Oracle with the Art Through the Star Stream Oracle. These two are magical. For this month, I pulled this card, Our Lady of Blessings Bestowed, for this month. And I really do think that it's really been apt this month. Now, the book for this card, it says, I ask that you trust me, because in receiving this blessing, things will change. Now, this is the similar message that I picked up on. Well, I didn't pick up on it. It whooshed up through the ground at me like a tsunami when I walked the waters in the Chalicewell Gardens. This is the same message. It was like a message of transformation. Where I keep these cards on my little piece of wood in my tarot room, I had also bought a little doll, which I found on secondhand just for a few pounds. And although I think this might be some sort of traditional Greek dress, it looks like, for me it kind of had a Mary vibe to it, and I wanted kind of a Mother Mary doll. All the Mother Mary statues I've seen online, I can't quite afford at the moment. I can't quite justify the expense, but she was only a few pounds, and I bought her, and she was sitting with my monthly pull. But then I pulled another card. I set her up and decided to pull another card from the Art Through the Star Stream Oracle, and look what I pulled. That kind of blew me away. That sort of matching headdress, the two things together. I'd literally just set this up and then put this next to it. Synchronicity again. So these 2 decks overview of the month have been brilliant and quite magical, really. At the start of the month daily, I carried on with this combination because I loved it. So this is the Muse Tarot with the Sacred Creators Oracle, which was a really lovely, generous gift to me. These 2 pair together beautifully. I love the messages. I could have worked with these all month really, but I just wanted to change up some of the decks just so some of the other decks weren't being ignored. But my main deck really for the month, a wonderful gift from the amazing Lisa in a Peggy bag, has been the Tarot of Transformation. I am so in love with this deck. Paper is really, really flimsy. It reminds me of the cardstock of the Fairy Tale Tarot, the Inner Child cards. But I quite like it because it's so nice to shuffle, because it's so flexible. But it's very, very different from the normal Rider-Waite system. A lot of the cards really do go their own way. With studying them, I haven't studied it all, but with studying the cards I've studied, there are still links there, but it's links taken on a tangent. And it is opening up the tarot for me a little bit, to be honest. I think the 7 of Swords completely opened up my take on that card, which is why I started a journal for a study of it, because I wanted it not only to understand this deck, but to feed into my understanding of how I read the Rider-Waite system as well. So it's definitely one that you need to study. It's definitely one that needs way more time than I've given it. It's probably needs more study than I've even found, like with the Dreams of Gaia. This one takes more work, but I love it. These are the back. It came with this beautiful personal power oracle deck. Again, another gift in the same box from Lisa. Look at the inside of the box, it's just so lovely. And these were just wonderful. These are wonderful. I mean, look at that card, that's incredible. It's a fabulous deck. I'll have to do a walkthrough of this as well. I love it. I've been using this as well throughout September. Tilly's loved this deck as well. Tilly pulled her own 3-card reading from this, and I did share it with Lisa because it was one of my highlights of the whole of September. She pulled a 3-card reading, which I will add, and she said, "Don't tell me, I can do my own tarot reading, Mum." And she said, "I am a cushion, I am Taylor Swift, and I have peanuts," was her definition of her reading, which literally cracked me up. I think I laughed for about 3 days over it. She's so brilliant, Tilly. But that's been another little deck that I've loved using. The Tarot of Transformation I paired with an oracle, which went beautifully. The Sacred Earth Oracle. This deck does pair really nicely with it. It also pairs, if you've got this deck, you've also got the Marielle. It is fabulous with the Marielle. The artwork is stunning in them. I will put in here some pictures of the readings that I did throughout the month, and I will show you it paired, because with the Tarot Transformation it did work really nicely and I absolutely loved it. So that's the Tarot of Transformation with the Sacred Earth Oracle. So finally, I want to do some shout outs, some YouTube shout outs. This month I have been just completely loving Mistress Ray's channel. I've loved all her conversations, all her sharings, her declutterings, her birthday hauls. Just loved watching Mistress Ray. So I'll link her channel down below. And also Meg over at Rose Honey Ritual as well. Meg is fantastic. Meg has been a long time subscriber to my channel, I think right from the early days. Really supportive of me. The fact she's now got her own channel, and it's so brilliant, just fills my heart with joy. If you don't know Meg yet and you haven't watched her channel, please do go and watch it. Also to Tash over at Foxes and Brown Bears Tarot, who's been joining in with my latest tag. Thank you, Tash. I've loved your channel this month. I also want to give a shout out to Renee over at Meadowlark Mystic. She has shared this in September, her She of Insight Oracle, which she's just in the final throes of creating, which I am just beyond excited about getting my hands on that oracle. But she did her first sharing of the deck in card format. So that was a massive highlight for me, so I will leave a link to that. Also, the lovely Dawn Michelle has been doing some beautiful videos this month, some really poignant journaling videos as well, which I've loved. So I'll leave links to Dawn Michelle as well if you haven't watched those. And Lisa as well, again over at Lisa Papez, her new series, the Hot Take series. Loved it. I watch it knowing that I'm in danger zone territory, trying not to buy too many new decks, but it's just so lovely seeing what's coming out next. So that's been fantastic. So it's been a really busy, arty month. It's been fun. It's been full of drama, it's been full of challenge, but it's been full and full and full of magic. And you guys again have been a beautiful, bright, shining light all the way through. I hope you guys know how important you are to me. You're amazing. I just love all of you, and I'm so grateful that you spend any time here watching me ramble on, let alone pause to send me the encouragement and the comments and the love that you have. Whew, you guys are fantastic. So thank you again for sharing another month with me. That was September. Let's see now what October has to bring. Stay safe, stay happy, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.